And we are live right now. Welcome to Oh Yeah Comics. We are here today with special guest. Who is it? Who could it be? Mike Norton.
It's a Mike Norton moment live.
It's me.
Look at
You
him.
did it. You pulled me out of my hole.
It's
Actually, I'm in my hole.
Are you? Is that the home hole? That's the home hole. That's not.
This is the home hole. This isn't the.
All right.
This isn't the shared hole. This is the home hole.
Have you gone to the studio at all?
It's
during
really
the
sad. It's like the rapture happened.
Yeah.
I
know.
Yeah, I've been there because I forget stuff, and so I go back and. Also, mailing is easier there because I don't have to interact with the post office, so I can just print out my postage and put it in the mailing area that we have in the building.
Yeah.
So it's easier to send and receive packages there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Are you doing commissions or anything like that during this period?
I haven't gotten to anything like personal for my own. I at the beginning of this, I started taking commissions with the express idea to give all of the money to challengers here in Chicago to help them out. And then I figured if that went well, I would go and do some other stores. But at this point, I haven't finished these commissions yet, which I knew was going to be a problem. And so I don't know. I don't know if I'll do them for myself after. I mean, I probably should. I'm one of the lucky people that hasn't really lost a whole lot of work though during all of this. I'm still working on some things.
I don't think you should be allowed outside. You're too nice of a guy.
Yeah, we need to protect you. You're like a national treasure.
My mutant healing factor prevents me from human diseases, which now that I've said that.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Jinx.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Son of a.
We have to officially say this, even though no one else is here. It's a Mike Norton moment. It is.
That's right, Julie.
Finally, this background here is for you. You know, I made that specifically for you today.
For
Fire
real?
up the mystery machine.
Because we're going to solve a mystery.
Oh God. I still every convention I go to, there's at least one person that does that.
That's awesome. Dude, I seriously, when we are allowed to socialize again, if you and Julie have not done Velma and Shaggy, this is a must. And
you would have to
convince Julie.
You'd have to get her drunk past the point of not being able to recognize people anymore.
Well,
to do something like that.
Conveniently slip her an orange sweater and a brown skirt and glasses. I'm not saying you got to wear it. I'm just saying.
I haven't. You know what? I usually am not into that sort of thing, but if I were going to, that would be the thing. Because that, yeah.
Come on, man.
I never thought of that.
You know, you've been to. You said you need to get her really drunk. You've been to our parties at Oh Yeah before, haven't you?
I have, but you know what? I usually don't drink a lot there because I got to drive home, so I don't usually do that.
Well, you got to talk to us beforehand. We can arrange. U.S. cargo.
There's plenty of things to do now. This is all
Cargill, freight shipping. You have me.
So
I just as soon as we were about to come on the air, we got text from Artie, who was dying, and
he's on vampire hours.
His hours are all flipped around, so he's going to bed right now. So he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not going."
Guys, I am normally, I've always been an overnight radio guy for like the last 3 years, and I am waking up at 4, cannot fall back asleep, get work done. Fall asleep at 10, wake up at noon, afternoon nap. My sleep's all over the place. I don't know.
Yeah, you're like a ferret.
I am like a ferret.
That's how ferrets sleep. They just take naps. They don't have like a bedtime. I used to have a ferret, and all they did was just take naps, and then they're up. So you can't sleep at night because they're just
scurrying around.
They decided they're up now. So
my college roommate had a ferret, and it used to crack me up. And it was like,
Well, yeah, you're in college when you have a ferret. That's when you have a ferret.
I guess
you don't have a ferret when you're out of college.
Julie, guess what I bought today?
I told you about my college ferret story, right?
No.
My buddy down the hall had one, and we would go down there every afternoon after classes. We would meet in his room before going out to dinner, and he had a ferret. And ferrets are prone to going blind eventually. I guess no.
I
I think so.
didn't know it.
Yeah.
Mike's nodding yes. All right, this is fascinating. Welcome to Animal Talk.
Yeah, they got all kinds of problems.
Wow.
So my roommate would come into the room because we would all meet there in my friend's room, and he would not say hello to any of us. He would go straight to the ferret cage, open the cage, pick up the ferret, whether it was asleep or not, pick it up, let it out, and the thing would just go crazy in the room. Just, not crazy, but like jumping around and he was all happy to be out of the cage. He would let this happen for about 10 minutes, and then he would find the ferret, pick up the ferret, hold it up to his face and say, you have amused me. I shall reward you with a hamster snack, and then put it back in the cage, give it a hamster snack, and we would go to dinner. This was a daily occurrence.
This guy sounds lovely. He sounds like he's real fun.
He was a lot of fun.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I like it.
I also have to say that, Johnny's been potting his ass off, if I can say that. Can I say that? He's been on live streams constantly, doing a great job with all these things. And this is the first time I've ever seen his hair combed, though.
I actually am just out of the shower, and I did. This is my mafioso kind of. You owe us several dollars, and we're not here to wait.
Several dollars.
Several dollars.
I like that. Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, this is my alderman look right now. So expect many of us moments of us lapsing into Norton speak. I would count on it, Mario. Yes.
You know what?
Tell us how much you hate us.
That impression really bugs me.
I know it does, buddy, but I do it because I love you. Seriously. It's the SNL impression. It's the impression that sounds nothing like the person that it's doing, but everybody understands it as. In fact, I think more people understand like George Bush as the Will Ferrell impression of George Bush. Yeah.
Well, we get people up at shows all the time. It's like, have you seen Mike Norton? Well, he's over here somewhere. It sounds nothing like you, but it's great.
It's Mr. Haney from Green Acres is who you're doing.
Mr. Douglas. I used to love him. Pat Buttram. He's fantastic.
Did he just die recently or a long time ago?
Wow, I don't know. Ooh, that's a good thing to look up.
Somebody from Green Acres just died.
Oh, Ebb just died.
Oh, the young guy. Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense. He was.
I love that
youngest guy. So
yeah, I love that show. Honestly, Mr. Haney was in Back to the Future 3. He's one of the cowboys. That's in the bar.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's one of him, Harry Carey Jr. and I believe Dub Smith. And I love westerns, so I know all these guys' names.
Yeah.
So
Harry Carey Jr.
Yeah, not to be. Hey, everybody! My son is in westerns now.
He's wearing a cowboy hat.
No, this is another Harry Carey. There were 3.
Are they related?
No, there was no. In fact, the baseball Harry Carey. I don't know if that's his real name or not, but I was adopted. Everybody, I don't know if you knew that. Mom, Dad, look, I voice Cardinal games now, and I'm having sex with the baseball team's owner, August Bush III. That's why he had to leave St. Louis.
Oh my God!
Why did they call her August Bush?
No, exactly. That's my favorite wine that I enjoy. A nice August Bush from 53.
Bush, yeah.
Exactly. It's a good vintage.
He was rounding home in May, but he was coming home for Bush in August. Oh man. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
No, and he.
Where was this aired?
Where? Everywhere. It's on Facebook Live right now, YouTube Live right now, and then we'll get about 5 or 6 listeners once it goes on the internet.
And I'll put it on the Word Balloon YouTube channel after this and stuff. That's why I was saying before we started running, the streaming that we use has 2 platforms, but now I'm doing one with like you can put it in 5 places at once, and because I want to start putting it on Periscope as well, because I know people aren't going to watch for the long run necessarily when it's live, but I kind of like that it triggers people to, new video. Okay, fine. Note to self kind of thing. So, because that's where I have my most followers. I have like 8,000 followers on Twitter, which is stupid. But
I like that we've done, how many of these have we done now, Johnny? 300, 500?
Of the podcast?
Recordings, yeah.
Well, the audio we've been doing over 200. We're like at 205, 206 or something like that.
So I like that all of these episodes, and Mike Norton has got the best microphone setup out of all of us. Like all of us are, like we're schlubbing it. I got this stupid thing that cuts in and out all the time. You have a phallic thing in front of your face, Johnny.
Yep.
That's a good microphone. I have one of those.
Yep. What brand is yours, Mike?
That's blue. Isn't that a blue?
Yes, mine's a Yeti Blue, but what brand is yours?
Oh, this is a Rode Podcaster. This is professional equipment, but it doesn't belong to me. I didn't buy this. One of my studio mates, Josh Emmons, is sort of a tech obsessed, I would say. Also, he used to work for Reverb and Chicago Music Exchange Online thing. Yep. And he's sort of really into recording equipment, and him and Sean Dove are the reasons why we do any kind of like YouTube stuff at 4-Star. We've started recently putting up online drawing videos and stuff.
That's
like
awesome.
That. And that's what all this is for. When we all got homebound, we took the microphones with us, and theoretically we're supposed to be recording from home, but we haven't done one yet. So
okay. Are you crankcasting still or no?
Yeah. I've been crankcasting for we're closing in on
14 years.
Yeah. 14, 15 years.
Well, yeah, because you started like a year after I started. And I remember, too, you're like, hey, we're going to do a podcast. I hope you don't mind. I'm like, why would I mind? I'm like, that's good. I'm like, of course. Dude, honestly, my favorite memory of you, seriously, and I'm going to embarrass you because this is how sweet you are. Like, I thought for years, hey, Mike, I'm telling a story, and then by all means. This is back in 2006 at a small show. And Mike hunkers down, and he's at the draft board. And a lot of artists can relate. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I hope I'm not like bugging you or anything like that when we talk. And you're like, no, you're not bugging me. We're friends. And I'm like, okay, good.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, that's cool, man. I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
I have somebody to talk to while I'm working.
I'm still thoroughly convinced that Mike Norton hates me, but
no.
I know you say that all the time.
It's probably because of the impression, and this guy agrees with me.
All right, Skoke's grabbing stuff. That's fine.
This guy said Mike's never sounded more like Franco's impression than when they are in the same room. Yeah, all right.
Just saying, not saying. Francis, I'm glad you got the banner over there because it literally, like right before we started potting, I purchased an easel from Amazon, and I'm going to start putting art up behind me when we do stuff. And
well, you got to wake him up first because he's asleep.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. I mean, him. Put Artie on an easel. I'm hanging, sir. Hope you don't mind. You like that? That's from mime class. I think I got that from mime class. Hey, it's Jesus, everybody. Happy Easter, everybody. I'm not blaspheming at all. How's it going?
So what do we do during this?
We fuck around like we're doing part of it.
Oh, okay. I'm used to that. I can do that.
Yeah, just watch the fucking language, right?
Please. Yeah, sorry about that. It's a kid show. Yeah.
Hello.
Skoke.
Greetings to all.
Good to see you, buddy.
Franco, Johnny, Mike Norton.
Hello.
Yes.
Do you know Mike Norton? This is Mike Norton.
Yeah. Mike Norton, we've met. I think we met first at a drink and draw event in Lincoln Square.
Oh, I you know what? I don't remember that, but I know I've met you at the store.
Oh, yes. Yes, there too.
I was talking to Hillary Barta this afternoon, and he was telling me that the Chicago Drink and Draw has gone virtual. And that they've been doing
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the one in person in years.
Me neither.
And it's gone through several leadership sort of things, and I think it's like bigger than ever now. I think
that's
they have
great.
A lot of people that go to it. Locations there haven't been that many locations either, so it's been pretty good that they've they maintain a consistency. I'm kind of proud of those guys.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of I feel every once in a while I should go, but it's how hard it is for me to leave the house on a good day, much less during. I mean, this is kind of not my dream but it's kind of good to have an excuse.
I don't like the sun.
I was going to say, no, this is honestly, it's a horrible status quo, but
really is.
I am staying sane by really tripling my podcast and being social with everybody. I talked to Chip Zdarsky yesterday. I'm talking to Shelley Bond tomorrow. Cool. And that's why when Francis is like, hey, Artie can't show up, he's like, do you want to cancel? I'm like, no. I'm like, and again, no offense to Artie, but I'm like, no, man, I want us to talk to Mike. And again, he can come back when Artie's fresh.
Shelley Bond is awesome, and let me tell you why. She is. I was working for several companies around the time that this happened, but when my mother passed, she was like the first person to talk to me and offer well wishes, and I think had DC send me flowers or something. Anyway, I got. Wow. She was very, very supportive during that time. It was very nice, and I've always remembered that. So,
no, she's a sweetheart, honestly, yeah. and I always tell her because she worked at her college radio station and is a big new wave music file and stuff.
Oh yeah. I follow her on social, so you see all the jam and all these everything's. I'm like, yeah, I can get down with that.
Absolutely. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, she's like, all right, we got to quiz each other on obscure jam and Paul Weller songs. I'm like, you'll win, Shell. I'm like, I love the guy.
There's only one.
I love the band.
There's only one that I remember.
No, I'm a fan. And yeah, I go deep as far as, but I'm all about the British hits. So yeah, I got no obscure jam. I'm sure I won't be able to challenge her on that, but I do want to challenge her on new wave one-hit wonders. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. So,
a lot of people only consider, new wave as one-hit wonders a lot of the time.
I can appreciate that.
Isn't it all just one song? It's the same song, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all Thompson Twins, 24 hours a day, exactly. So,
I think technically this is considered the longest drink and draw on the air. I think this show, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you eating your green beans tonight, Skoke?
I am not. I ran out of green beans. Mike, there was an episode recently where I ate green beans throughout, raw green beans.
It's true.
Was that like part of the show?
Yes. Well, when Artie and I went and saw the Avengers, we got to see a sneak preview like 5 days earlier because of one of the radio stations I worked at, and it was a late show, so we didn't eat dinner until later, and we went to the Twisted Kilt downtown. Oh, yeah. Or Tilted Kilt, thank you. I never get it right. And, for people who don't know, it's like a Hooters, but it's like all Scottish kind of.
Like a Scottish Hooters.
Yeah, Scottish Hooters,
basically. Scottish Hooters.
They should have called it Scottish Hooters.
Yeah, it's Hooters.
So we get there at like 10 o'clock, and I go to the person that seats you or whatever, and I'm like, is the kitchen open? And she goes, well, yeah. She goes, yes. And then she goes, well, actually, it's just microwave appetizers. And I'm like, well, that's not dinner. I go that I'm asking if the kitchen is open, so the kitchen is not open. And she gives me a look, and she's like, I think you're here to look at the girls, sir, not really to worry about eating. And she didn't say that, but I assumed that was the subtext. Okay. I assumed that was the subtext. But I'm like, well, I'm hungry. I don't want deep fried pepper poppers that are microwaved. I want an actual meal. So we went to
none of your damn kilts. Give me food.
Yeah, so that's kind of been a running joke. That's not dinner. And Artie just thought it was hilarious. And so we ended up at Miller's Pub downtown. But ever since then, yeah, like whenever somebody mentions dinner, we're always like, that's not dinner. So last week we did or 2 weeks ago, we did a That's Not Dinner podcast where we were all eating, but not having dinner.
I wasn't eating. I was brought my drink.
Well, me and Skoke were eating then.
I ate early because I knew you guys were going to call me.
There you go. I'll eat afterwards. There, and this is a trademark of the show. Skoke always has a giant drinking device.
What is in that?
Wow.
Oh, it's water. It's just water.
Yeah. Sure it is. Exactly.
Oh, questions on the screen.
It's water.
Where'd you get that comics display behind you?
I got that from Patrick Brower at Challengers. Got it for me. He got me the hookup. I think they were selling them through Diamond, but they were selling out real quick. So,
oh wow!
He said, "Hey, you want one?" And I was like, "Yeah, put me down." So he just ordered me one, and I paid for it. So
because I know Jimmy DeMonakis of Emerald City.
Yeah, that was a separate thing, and I didn't get in on that, and so I. But this is sort of the same thing. I think his had more options and things. This is just a standard comic shop.
That's awesome.
What kind of options do you get in a spinner rack besides
honestly,
spinning and racking?
I remember there were levels that he kickstarted it or something like that, and then there were different kinds of maybe colors. I think there were different colors. Actually,
that's hilarious. No, that was very entrepreneurial of Jim, and it doesn't surprise me because he's always been good business sense wise.
Mm-hmm.
So funny dude. I love Jimmy. And again, another long distance friend that will probably be months, if not years, before we see each other face to face. This is fucked up, man. Pardon me. I know. I keep dropping up.
Language.
What angry? He's angry.
I am
angry. Yoko chips.
Angry guy. So. That's not dinner.
Give it about an hour. He'll get up and go look in the refrigerator for something and be angry about it.
Or I'll conveniently turn off my camera while I take a moment. So, and I might come back and it might be foggy in London town in my neck of the woods. I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Again, it's legal. It's legal here. Come on now.
I don't know what kind of podcast this is, but I'm scared.
See, you don't know what you stepped into, Michael.
You guys, I want to show you something. This is a new item.
I'm afraid.
Just received.
Oh, look at him
in the mail today. This is a Judi Dench T-shirt.
Is that what that is? A Judi Dench T-shirt?
Yeah.
In her various incarnations.
What?
Oh my God.
Okay, now first of all, where did you get that? And second of all, why don't I have one?
It's got to be a British item.
Oh, it was a gift.
Well, clearly.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it. It
just
came
like
in the mail. Yeah. She's a gift. Yeah, indeed. Dame Judy arrived in the mail today, and from my friends Brian and Janine Rodriguez, who are currently viewing the pod.
Nice.
So thank you to them, and shout out.
And what's their name? What's their names again?
Brian and Janine Rodriguez.
Brian and Janine. How do I get on your mailing list? That's what I want to know at this point.
Everybody's going to want to be on their mailing list now after seeing this.
And I should have known by the I as opposed to the Y. I thought it was a Judy Garland T-shirt at first.
Oh man!
and I was going to get really fabulous with you about Judy Garland. So
you're a Judy Garland T-shirt.
I am I'm a walking Judy Garland T-shirt. Yes.
You really are. That's what people say about you.
Yeah, I do hear that a lot.
Hey, Mike Norton. I always wanted to ask you how you get into different mindsets, if you do, for your kids-focused work versus adult in a cartooning style work versus more photorealistic work. Well, I can answer that. It's depending on if you're working for us or not.
Well, it is a different mindset. I think around the time I was working with you guys on Shazam, I was doing
one of my favorite books ever.
One of my favorite books ever.
Me too.
Oh.
Why won't they collect it, dude?
I don't know.
Very good question.
I don't think they like Johnny. That's why.
Next to me. I'll talk to Jeff Johns.
I was working on a Fear Itself miniseries at Marvel, and I think I was getting ready to start. I think Tim and I had just started talking about Revival. Wow. So those are three really different kind of books, and I would switch off on them, and always thinking this won't be a problem. I'll, a page is a page is a page. But no, you do especially when you get into something heavy like Revival, you do have to I can't say it's like acting because for one thing, I don't know anything about acting, but it feels like that would be what it's like trying to get yourself in a different headspace. But recently I draw more of what I like drawing, which tends to be more in the middle of all of that, where it's almost realistic, but there's a lot of the cartoony in there. And given my own like, hey, Mike, just draw what's ever in your head, it's gonna end up being more cartoonish, goofy, because I make jokes. That's what I do. That's kind of my thing. I don't usually, I'm not like a Bernie Wrightson that's just wanting to draw scary monsters and stuff, like things that torture my mind and things like I want to escape all that most of the time because I'm sad inside, and that's what I do.
Aw.
Yeah, really. And I want to hold you.
Yeah.
But it's a little easier now. But yeah, there was definitely a switching things on and off and kind of having to, sometimes it would ruin a whole day because I couldn't get into that kind of mindset. I do have to say that the cartoony stuff, the fun stuff, is way easier to get into because it's not very often that you get up and say, "Oh, I don't want to have fun today," that kind of thing. I mean, it's either like, "Oh, this is kind of a breeze to draw," or this is a really funny script or something like that. You don't usually dread doing that. You know what I mean? So
I understand.
I like your work, and you're a machine, man. You crank that stuff out like page after page after page. You're one of the fastest artists I know.
I've slowed down considerably, but thank you very much. I feel like it has given me a career being able to be faster than I'd say the average, just because, if anything, in the early days, it got me jobs when somebody else crapped out, So I've used it to my advantage.
Am I right, Mike? I know you're doing a lot of stuff with Eric Powell. I saw you even announce. Is new stuff from you coming out next week with Diamond coming back?
Yeah. So I started an arc on the Goon right before all of this. So 2 issues I think have come out, and so the third of the arc I'm working on. I've done 4, so cool. The third will come out next week on my birthday.
That's awesome. Hey, happy birthday. That's
happy
great.
Birthday, man.
Thank you. I actually am at the age where I have to look up how old I am because I don't really remember.
I can relate.
I forgot what but yeah, he's been publishing Grumble, which is my creator-owned book.
Yep.
And that will be coming back too because we only got 1 issue out before all of this happened.
Oh, wow.
Of the new series. So I've got 4 more to go. And he's been very supportive of that. There are not a lot of, independent comedy books about a dog and his daughter that people would put out for 15 issues these days. So awesome. Eric and I go way back. So I'm really grateful and thankful that I get to work with him and he's letting me, play with his favorite creation. So
outstanding.
That's
Mike,
awesome.
I'm curious about your connection with Arden Franco. Was Billy Batson the first time you guys met and worked together?
No, not the first time we met, but the first time we worked together, definitely. I've known them for years. I mean, Art lives here, right? So I mean, I've seen him around for years. He was kind of like, when I moved to Nashville back when I was younger, Eric was the guy there who was making a living doing this stuff. And when I moved up here, Art was one of like the first guys that I met who's like, yeah, I look at all this stuff that I do, that kind of stuff. He was prolific already. So it wasn't a surprise when, he and Art started doing all the stuff at DC because they already were doing stuff, that just wasn't as widely seen, so yeah, I get lucky meeting the people that I do.
On Shazam, I'm sorry, Francis. All I was going to ask, because I do want to know, on Shazam, you guys all replaced Mike Kunkel, I know. And how did am I right? And how did the 3 of you guys get together for Shazam?
There was an in-between guy.
Yeah, this goes back because I was going to talk about how we got Mike on the book, which I couldn't believe we did. But Mike Kunkel was doing the book, and he was late on the issues. So we were asked if we could do story arcs between his story arcs because he was falling behind. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I don't really want to know what happened behind the scenes, but we were getting our first story arc ready, and we got the word that Mike was off the book, and would we be able to handle the monthly book? And we're like, yeah. So the first artist they paired us with was Steven DeStefano.
Oh, sure.
Who we loved. We loved Steven's artwork. And then we handed in the next script, and they said, well, the schedule with Mike Kunkel was all messed up, and then they couldn't get Steven back because he had taken another job. So then they got Byron Vaughns, who was a cartoonist and a storyboard artist on the little Looney Tunes. What were they called?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Tiny Toons.
Tiny Toons. Yeah, I was confusing it with Tiny Titans, and Tiny Toons didn't sound right in my head when I was about to say it. But and he just wasn't a comic book artist. He was a great artist, and he was a good, storyboard guy, but he just wasn't gelling with what we wanted. And we kept asking him, can we, nothing against Byron, but can we have another artist? And they're like, well, who do you want? And I remember sitting in the office at DC, and I was talking to Dan, and he goes, well, who do you want? I'm like, well, Mike Norton is, because I'm like, this, that's the first name that popped into my head, but I loved his artwork. I said, Mike Norton would be a really cool guy to get on the book. And he's like, well, all right. And then a couple issues went by, and then he goes, all right, we're going to get Mike on the book. And I'm like, really?
Great.
I'm like, that's great. Because I really thought that, I was just blowing smoke at that point, going, yeah, can we have Mike? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then never get Mike. But I was shocked when they said he was going to be on the book.
Who pitched to you, Mike?
I'm not the hardest to get. Who pitched to me?
Like to get you on the book. Yeah.
Well, I think they just told me that I had it. I know Franco told me that he was going to ask them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so I drew a Shazam that I showed them, like a real cartoony Shazam. And but yeah, then they just called me and said, hey, do you want this? I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I remember one San Diego flying back home, and Mike, me, and Tim Seeley were all on the plane, and they were next to each other in one row, and I was like one or two rows behind them, opposite in an opposite row. But I could see Mike hunched over with his tablet, drawing the book. Because I thought, man, are you doodling? And he's like, no, look. And I'm like, oh, God, you really are drawing the book. Yeah. And that's fantastic. It was, to me, like so eye-opening, and especially when drawing on a Wacom or whatever, where it was kind of brand new.
One of the first, I think it was the first book that I did completely digital. I had done some Blue Beetle stories before that, but I think Shazam was the first book that I did completely digital. So it was cool. The beginning of the end for me. The end of paper.
I wanted to buy and actually it's right there is your book. See up in the corner here.
The red
the red border is I wanted a cover, and I talked to Mike, and I said the book was coming to an end, and we knew it was coming to an end, and I said I want to buy a cover. And he goes, well, that's a problem because I don't have any. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, I draw it all digitally. And I'm like, damn it. Like, he goes, but I have these. And he gave me, like, it was your thumbnails because you did them on regular paper, right?
At that point, I was doing it's kind of misdirection at that time to say that I didn't have originals, because I did do these very detailed layouts on 8.5 by 11 printer paper that I would scan and then ink on the computer, because I wasn't so confident yet in my ability to do everything online. So so I forgot that you have I have a couple of the Shazam things still.
Cool.
You'd be surprised at how many people don't want to buy scribbles on printer paper at conventions, so I don't take those with me.
That shocks me, Mike, because honestly, I thought I purchased a couple of your breakdown pages, and I'm like,
Oh,
God,
do you have any of them with you on them?
No, but what I do have with that you have, and honestly, I have to ask you about this. I'm glad you brought it up. You were drawing Justice Society.
Yeah,
JSA.
I put you in Justice Society.
That was amazing, and I was like some sort of government.
I think you get killed.
That's well, it was before the pages I got.
Right.
Before I got killed.
So you do have one of those.
I absolutely do,
and
it's fantastic. And it's me like talking to Golden Age Flash and Green Lantern.
Yeah,
and it's
I figured you'd like that.
Fucking dream come true again. Another F-bomb. It really was. I mean,
like
seriously.
if there's going to be a book that centers, I mean, you've been in a lot of books, but I figure, I mean, you fit more in that than like Ultimate Spider-Man. You know,
no, I'll take both, man. But it was great. Seriously, yeah. If I had my druthers and would pick, I am sad to say that I would absolutely be like, put me in the Golden Age book, please. That would be great.
But that was, that was another book where I was kind of, replacing somebody else and having to draw because Scott Collins was drawing it at the time, and he was doing this all pencil shading sort of technique. And so Mike Carlin said, "Hey, do you think you can do this?" And I was like, "Oh, I've never done it before. Wow. But I'll try it." So I went and I bought one of those blending sticks from Art Center, and that's how it ended up.
I do have a Yeti mic, by the way, Brad. Yes, it is a Yeti mic. So yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Well, again, Brad, watch the beginning of the video. We already covered this.
It doesn't belong to me, but yes, I've been on. I've had.
Oh, that's right. It was Guggenheim's JSA run, wasn't it, Mike? When you were on JSA.
I guess. Yeah. It's funny that I don't even remember who wrote it. I was so intimidated by Scott drawing it that I was like, well, if it weren't for Mike asking me to do this, I'd probably say no because I'm scared.
Yeah, but I think those times that you had to fill in really again showed your versatility, because I remember when Winnick was doing Green Arrow. And I forget who you stepped in for that.
Yeah,
was it Eddie Barrows?
No, Eddie Barrows. I replaced on the Atom.
That's right, on the Atom. Sure.
Yeah. On the Atom, I replaced Eddie Barrows, who was replacing John Byrne. So I have like this habit of coming in after Giants, and it's kind of messed up my brain a little bit in my career. I talked about this on another show actually, where they are asking me about this, and I feel like while I have learned so much about how to draw different ways and how to simplify my own way of drawing, it's made me a better artist. I also feel like in the long run, it's kind of damaged me as a commodity for editors, because editors don't think of me as one thing. If anything, now people go, "Oh, that's the pug guy."
The pug guy, sure.
Yeah, which, I mean, I think if you've seen my artwork, there's a lot more than just pugs, even though I've worked very hard to make everybody only see pugs. But yeah, before that, I was almost like a chameleon, like I didn't have a style. So I think editors kind of had a hard time when somebody would suggest me go, I don't know if I see that guy in that, because what did they see,
Sure.
Because I mean, everything I did up until that point, I was replacing. I replaced Adrian Alfona on Runaways, and they said draw like Adrian Alfona.
I was going to say, when you came on these books, did they want you to draw in the style of the last guy? To a degree?
Often they would imply it. A lot of people had enough manners not to say, "Hey, draw like this guy." But I've had editors that straight up say, "Can you draw like this?"
Because when you came in on Shazam, your style was so different than Byron Vaughn's, and
that was me trying to be, not necessarily me because I didn't know what it was, but me just having fun. I had seen what Kunkel had done, and I was like, well, we can do anything with this. So I just say I tried to make it be a little more narrative than Kunkel. Kunkel was, he comes from animation, so he just, if he wants to, have a whole white page with just a couple of figures doing Calvin and Hobbes, that's fine. I do a lot more like narrative storytelling with my stuff, but I tried to have that kind of energy where everybody always looks like they're moving and stuff.
Because I remember asking you when as soon as you came on the book, I'm like, well, what do you like to draw? Because I like to write what artists like to draw, and you're like,
what did I say?
You're like, I'll draw anything.
Yeah,
but you did say lots of rubble.
I did. I usually say, and like Jeff Parker has said, this is a cop out, but I often say, surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's honestly the truth. I told Rafer Roberts this because he writes Grumble, and he also asked me, "What do you like drawing?" And I always say, "Surprise me," because that is honestly. I learned this when I did the Atom, because Gail Simone, there was no way to know what she was going to make these stories about. Yeah. And if you look at our issues, they're weird.
Yeah.
And they change from issue to issue. Like there's a continuing story, but the whole point of that was Ivy Town's a weird place.
Yep.
And so I got addicted to that. I was like, what am I going to get in this script? You know?
Yeah.
So I like the not knowing. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to learn how to draw a guy who's bifurcated and, and just like, you can't see the other half of him. I don't know what that looks like. Or I have to draw a future city with like flying cars and stuff like that. I was like, I've never done that. I was like, now I got to draw a horse inside a guy's house. That kind of stuff.
See, that's funny because I'm not Gail Simone, but specifically when you did say surprise me, and you said rubble, a lot of rubble.
I do like.
So rubble. I remember the two specific issues for you were the mummy when they're in ancient Egypt, because I blew up all the pyramids, and you you did an awesome job with that. And then the other one, which is one of my favorite issues that I've done ever, was the space school with the cows.
The cows. Yeah.
Because you're like, surprised me. I'm like, all right, let's see if you could draw a cow with a mustache.
Yeah, I wasn't. Well, you know what? It's funny. Before that, I got paid to draw a Chick-fil-A comic. So I had experience drawing cows. I felt real guilty for doing the comic, so I gave a percentage of it away to the Human Rights League. But
that's good.
You gotta live, though, I guess.
Yeah, I gotta live. I mean, honestly, they paid really well. So,
well, I've told this story on the pod before, I think, where I was contacted by the government, and they wanted to do a comic book about organ donation, and they asked me if I would. Write it. They had like kind of an outline, but they wanted me to write it and they wanted me to draw it. And I'm like, I don't want to do this, because it was all just, it's about kids dying and then harvesting their organs. And, they wanted this to go into high schools, so it could be like, high school kids could read it and like, yay, when I die, I want to give up my kidneys type thing. And I thought it was like a morbid thing. I'm like, I so don't want to do this. And this was like early on in my career, and my wife was like, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, the last thing I want to do is say no, because, you say no to a job, that's very early in a freelance career. You learn that you try not to do that,
Yeah. Oh,
and
man.
I said, yeah, but I said, I don't want to do this thing. So my wife was like, well, what are you going to do? And I said, you know what? I'm going to make them say no. I'm going to hit them with a price that they'll have to say no to. And I did, and it was an outrageous price, and they said yes. And my wife was like, well, what are you going to do now? I guess I'm going to draw the comic now, because they said yes, and they're paying this ridiculous amount of money. So I'm like, I'll do it.
Do you still have issues with that? I would love to see
it. Never came out. It never came out.
You don't have the
After all that, they paid me on time.
I'm sure you could find it, because people are often bringing up comics I never thought or wanted to see again at comic shows.
I've never seen it anywhere. I don't know that it ever came out or that they ever distributed it. So if anyone out there has one and you see me on a show, bring it to me.
That's fantastic. Your government wants your organs now.
Give us your organs.
It's like that scene in The Meaning of Life, when the two people come for the liver and stuff, but I'm not dead yet.
we actually, just to finish up the story, you know, I got paid, and my wife was like, "Well, what are we gonna do now?" I took my parents and my son and my wife, and we went on a trip to Italy. It was.
I was going to say we're going to Italy.
Oh, nice.
Paid for the entire trip. It was awesome.
That's very cool.
It's pretty good. You know, Mike, I do voiceover work, and I narrate audio books.
I didn't know that.
Yes, this is true. The weirdest book I've ever narrated was a book about how to cure hemorrhoids. And
how long is that book?
I'm sitting on one right now. The book, not the hemorrhoid.
It should be really short because the cure is really simple that this guy talks about. So it should be like one sentence and you're done. But this was like a 3-hour book where he goes into the history of hemorrhoids and
oh my god, the history of hemorrhoids.
Well, yeah, he starts it out.
Why are they not called asteroids?
He talks about Napoleon, how Napoleon probably lost the war because he had hemorrhoids and couldn't get up on the horse to lead his armies. Now, the cure.
You don't hear that in the Constantinople books.
I know you guys are dying to know, and the viewers are dying to know, what is this cure?
Yeah.
For hemorrhoids?
Is it lemon juice?
It's close. It's actually cayenne pepper in water. You mix it together, and you can drink it, and supposedly that.
And then it blows out your anus, and you're fine.
I figured, I thought you might be applying it rectally or anything. You know, again, I don't mean to get clinical on you.
That sounds painful.
It doesn't sound like that's the kind of thing you'd want to have around that area, but they do say that the guy
really, because I do it every night.
I'll show you.
Yeah, that's why you don't have hemorrhoids, Franco. Because
I haven't had a hemorrhoid in like days.
Yeah,
he craps like a racehorse. Yes, indeed.
Well, you can apply it directly
anywhere he wants. While he's walking.
Exactly. Much like.
Listen, I can't come to the phone right now because I'm squatting in a bowl of cayenne pepper.
Oh, good plug for Shazam comics there, John. Pardon me. Go on, Michael.
No, just to finish about the hemorrhoids.
Yes, please.
You can also create a paste out of the cayenne pepper and water and apply it directly to the affected area. That's what this guy said.
You can also use it as like a sandwich moistener instead of mayonnaise.
Sandwich moistener.
Isn't that the stuff that you put on like furniture to keep your cat from scratching it?
Cayenne pepper.
It's a cure-all.
Yeah, it's an all-purpose spice.
Well, I want to mention
we're learning a lot today.
Yeah, the author of this book is not a doctor.
He's a cat.
He must be a cat. I don't know. It was strange, but
good gig.
That was my strangest book I've ever narrated.
Available now at Amazon.com. Everybody, check out
hemorrhoids
at Audible.
Do you have hemorrhoids and need to spackle your walls? Try this.
How did you get into this line of work? That's pretty wild.
You know, it was something I auditioned for. Oh, there's my friend Shannon. She says pepper paste. She's a fan, apparently.
That's Iron Man's girlfriend, pepper paste. Absolutely.
Yeah, pepper paste.
I'm afraid to ask her how she uses it, but
pepper paste bot Pete.
Exactly. Nice. Very good.
Shout out there.
That's a good idea for a character. Wait a minute.
Oh, no.
I'm writing that
From
down.
Beyond the Grave.
Somebody get Don Heck in here right now.
Oh, no. I think he's dead too, Stan. I don't think we can do that.
We should make his costume red. No, let's
John Heck on the phone. I think we got something for him to do.
Oh, no.
Fabulous flow.
He's coming up with crap still.
Tales from the bullpen, exactly.
Every once in a while, when he's fighting the good guys, his ass will burn, and he'll have to go home.
R.L. Stine's Ghost Bullpen.
Fire comes shooting out of there.
True, exactly.
R.L. Stine's Goosebumps fire ass story.
Did you guys ever hear that? That was an old National Lampoon comedy album bit, Fart Man. And he's like, I can light my farts and create a wall of flame. And things like that.
So is that where Howard Stern stole it?
Yeah. Well, honestly, it was like a good decade before Stern was doing Fart Man. So I believe so, frankly.
That's fine.
Brad wants to know again, do you want to say more about working on the Goon? Brad, and I know you have to wait until after the video's over. We covered all this. I'm really sorry, buddy. I'm not trying to be mean.
Working on
but you know.
Yeah, I mean, the Goon. I'm doing a 4-issue arc. It's a story that I initially came up with the idea for. I was in Scotland a year or two ago.
Were you wearing a kilt?
It was not. I did. I bought a scarf with my family's tartan on it. I did not buy a kilt.
So no free balling.
No free balling
No,
for me.
okay.
It was a little too cold. It actually snowed.
Wow.
But
that just drives them up in you, and then you need pepper paste to get them out. But you're okay.
That is a multi-useful. I went on a beer tour of Edinburgh, and the woman giving the tour told us this story about the origin of brewing and how I don't know how true it is. I've looked it up online, and everybody has a story like this, but it's the origin of brewing and how it relates to witches and what we know of as the actual witch that we know of today with the hat and the broomstick, and it all has to do with its origins in beer brewing. And I told Eric that I was like, this is an interesting idea for a story. And he's like, oh, that's cool. So he talked to Roger Landridge, and they came up with this 4-issue story that I'm.
Oh, that's awesome. They're co-writing. That's great.
Yeah.
Roger's a great writer too. That's really cool, man.
Yeah, it's real funny. It's real funny. Well, you'd expect that with the Goon. So
look, Artie's up.
Yeah.
Hey, Art.
No, I understand. Now Artie's going to go, hey, talk about the Shazam run. And that'll be fine. So Brad's not alone. Exactly. Everyone's late to the broadcast. That's
Listen,
okay.
so what are you doing on Goon, Mike? What?
Oh, I thought you were actually asking me. I was about to answer.
I want to ask about Scotland and you getting your colors on the tartan and everything. Like, how do you know that's really like the Norton crest? Because like, isn't it like Jimmy, get it in the box. Give him the black and white one.
You know,
tell him it's a Norton.
I think there is just I don't know. So
okay.
I mean, it could just be. It could very well just be a thing they do with tourists, but there is, a record of these family tartans. I just don't know how legit it is.
Okay. Well, but if it said Norton, okay, that's cool.
Well, no, this isn't even Norton because.
What's the family?
It's Forsyth. It's my mother's side.
Oh, cool. That's cool, man. Very, very cool.
But Forsyth has like 2 tartans. So there's 2 versions.
Sure.
So I was like, I don't know what that means.
Are you the Highland Tartans or Nortons or the Forsyths or the McTarries?
So,
Forsyths. Yeah.
And besides, we're like Scots Irish. We're hillbillies. So if we had a tartan over, we'd use it to clean up a mess on the floor, ride a sheep.
Forsyth, clean that up.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
Get the Norton. Formerly known as the Mop.
James Doohan, Scotty from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Several times he actually wore like a kilt and stuff and had the tartan and everything. And he was selling swatches from supposedly, this was actually on camera. I wore this on camera. And apparently the reality was he had this giant bolt of that cloth.
Oh,
it was just like, all right, cut a couple more. Got a few more suckers.
I've seen a couple of embarrassing movies he's been in. He's been in a lot of.
Well, before we get off the topic, I'm totally Italian. Can I get one of those things?
I don't think so.
Yeah, what's the equivalent of the Italians doing that?
Oh, there's a Sleepy Art.
Oh, man, poor Artie.
Oh yeah, man.
Artie. Good Lord.
Little Sleepy Art. I want to pet him on his head.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm gonna go to baggage claim for those bags under your eyes, sir. Good Lord.
I'm hurting real bad.
I see that.
I wanted to share my other stuff. There it is. I wanted this to be my face. I was trying to hide my face.
That's not going to be it.
How can I do it?
You gotta put your avatar on your on like this one. Here, let's see.
All right, he's doing it.
That's
he's in standby. Poor Artie. Jesus Christ. He looks like Scoot's COVID-19 picture.
Scoot's memes have been making me laugh through this whole thing. I really like them. They're very funny.
Totally, man.
They're hysterical.
It takes away from the disturbance of his mustache.
he seems to be of a different ethnicity with that mustache.
Makes it more palatable.
It kind of kills me. But man, Artie, Jesus.
Yeah, why are you even bothering with this? You should be asleep.
I feel terrible that he's that like wiped out, man. It's like I'm gonna send him like chamomile tea bags to put on his eyes to like help him get the swelling down. Good Lord. He looks like he just went 15 rounds with Frazier. Man. Come on, kid, one more round. Can't do it, sir.
I cannot beat Joe Frazier.
Oh my God.
I like that Scoot and Artie are here, but like nobody is. Yeah,
they're in the Phantom Zone. That's when, like, early on when we used to do the podcast, I wanted it just to be Art and Franco, and I would just produce. And they used to say I was stuck in the Phantom Zone, and so.
Well, I remember that. I did listen in the early days.
This is truly, Mike. I consider you starting the Crankcast with Crank back in 2006. You're a Mercury astronaut. You're one of the originals and stuff. Because I love these people.
Yeah.
No. Don't kid yourself, buddy. I mean, literally, Adam Curry was 1 year ahead of me, and I was 1 year ahead of you. Because
of that stuff. I mean, I was listening to CGS, and I was listening to Adam Curry, and I was like, this sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And that's really what it was.
Sure.
It wasn't me wanting to make a living off of it, obviously, because I haven't. I was like, this sounds like fun. So I told my buddy, and he said, I'm not doing it unless you do it. So
there you go.
No, and I've regretted it ever since.
Well, and a couple of years ago, there was a group of people that were going to do a 24-hour podcast, and they're like, this has never happened before. And I'm like, yes, it has.
It happens like every day now.
Well,
somebody's doing
especially.
One.
Oh, wait, hold on. He's back. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, no.
It's the Green Hornet.
There he is.
That's better, Artie.
famous cartoonist.
I like it, sir. Yeah. That's a good call, sir. That's good. You're definitely a celebrity.
I was going to be live at the moment I was live.
You're barely live.
Don't worry about it. We all get yelled at by Johnny. You're fine. You're part of the crew now.
Oh, Brad? Are you saying for Brad?
It's like the cutest Hunter S. Thompson cosplay.
I don't know what that means. By me saying that, I know that you heard me.
You're good, sir. You're doing good.
Because I'm going on about 18 hours right now.
Why are you not in bed? Why go to bed?
He wanted to talk to you, obviously.
Oh.
I went upstairs to watch an episode of Clone Wars.
Okay.
And everybody was watching something else. And so I was like, I could go to bed right now, but it was only like 6:30. No, it's 8 o'clock. Holy crap. It was
No.
Oh, he died.
Oh, no, what happened?
Got sucked into the Phantom Zone. Damn you, Luther.
No. I was.
Now I'm never going to know how that story ended.
To be continued.
Never going to find out.
Will Art Baltazar rejoin us?
He's going to pick up the story. He's going to pick up the story right where he left off. So you were upstairs.
He's back.
Back.
I was hoping he'd go to sleep.
Very back.
In case you just joined us, Artie just came back.
Of course.
You're watching the Clone Wars.
Yeah. I went upstairs to watch an episode of Clone Wars because I know everybody likes it and we watch it together. But they were watching something else. They're watching an old movie, a black and white movie, if you will.
Wow.
And I didn't know what it was. So nobody cared that I was there. So I walked away and I went back downstairs to see what you guys were doing. But I should be sleeping right now. You really should be sleeping.
Go to sleep, buddy.
I was up at about 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock, and it's just nuts. So
did you do a famous?
What's that?
Did you do a famous cartoonist says things today?
I do that in the morning, and it's really fun, and it's really cool, and people dig it, and I like doing that, and it gets me motivated. I say what I want to say in the morning, and the best part about it is people are just responding to me, and I don't know what I'm going to say, but I just say stuff for about an hour. I talked just over an hour today.
Can I make a suggestion for your show now?
Yeah.
For your morning card. So I think you should have a segment where you have people guess if you're just getting up or just going to sleep when you make those.
Right. Usually when I do it, a famous cartoonist says things in the morning. The afternoon edition means that I just woke up in the afternoon. But lately now it's very strange because I'm up and I'm working by 4 a.m. and I don't like that. And I have to stop and say goodbye to my wife as she goes to work. She's very essential. She's very, very essential. She starts work at 6 a.m.
Wow.
So she goes to work. She's home by 2:15, which is great. But I say goodbye to her in the morning. But I'm already working for 2 hours before she leaves the house, which is very strange for me. So I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is right now. I'm on your show. I'm on this show, and you saw me without the glasses and the hat.
I'm sorry. We'll edit that out later.
Look at him hurt.
But it looks better like this.
Totally. There you go. Now exactly. Now we have no idea. It's like when the kids wore sunglasses in class while they were sleeping and stuff.
Yeah. And I don't know what's worse is what's worse for your body is staying up many, many hours, just being awake, or drinking a lot of alcohol. I don't know if it's the same thing. You know?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sleeping is by far the worst thing you can do to your body.
Yeah, sleep deprivation.
Not do, yeah.
I mean, not sleeping. That's what I mean.
Sleep deprivation.
Sleeping is the worst thing you can do.
Exactly. Yeah, no, don't listen to him, kids. And by the way, start smoking too.
And if you have any pepper paste for your ass, do that too.
My cop neighbor says that it's 16 hours, or if you stay up past 24 hours, like 16 hours past 24 hours, I don't know what that is. That's the equivalent of drinking like a 6-pack of beer.
Yeah. I believe it.
Yeah, and I think I'm there right now, even though I didn't drink anything today.
And I have the same problem, Artie. I'm waking up at 4 a.m. for like the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, all right, I'm not falling asleep. I may as well get work done. And I think I texted you earlier. Yeah, man, I do that till like 10, and then I'll fall asleep till like 2 in the afternoon. And so, yeah, my sleep's all over the place. I know exactly what you mean.
It's nuts, and it hurts, and I don't know what to do. But
you know, Art, I gotta say, I've been admiring your clothing ensembles during these videos. The other day, you had a dark turtleneck with a dark jacket, and it looked a lot like George Clooney from Ocean's 11.
See, I tell people all the time that I look just like him, but nobody believes me.
Mike believes you.
I believe you. I believe everything Art says.
Wait, you're not George Clooney?
And I'm really happy to be here with the Mike Norton moment, because when you guys were texting me, man, I was dying. I was yawning. I was trying not to be asleep, and I should be sleepy now.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see you, Mr. Mike Norton.
It's good to see you. It's been a long time.
You look good. Yeah.
I like this look because if you do happen to fall asleep, we wouldn't be able to tell.
Exactly.
No, that's the thing. Yeah.
You just need like a prop behind you so that your like head doesn't slump forward or backward.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
I was trying to share my screen, and earlier when you saw my face, it was unwanted. I was trying to.
I'm sorry.
I was trying to share this. I don't know if you have to press a button, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to share.
Yes.
And that, I just wanted to talk with this.
I like that there's a copyright Art Balthazar on it.
Yeah, there is.
Well, there's a way that you can make your icon up there. I forget how. Do you know how to do it, Johnny?
No, I don't. Dude, are you kidding me? You've been helping me figure out like transparencies, and now I'm doing like.
I know that I will never try that again.
No, we'll figure it out, Artie. We'll figure it out eventually. It's all right.
There's a way to do it. I know that.
It's a mystery.
It's a Mike Norton mystery.
Mike
Mike Norton mystery.
Yeah, don't
The
put
pugs
this
in the
on me.
van, Julie.
I don't know how to solve none of this.
Honestly, it has been so really exciting and invigorating to learn all the bells and whistles of live streaming, like the background that Franco put up for this episode, and yeah, I started to say I just got this new jingle. I keep using radio terms, but basically like little fast video intros for my live stuff. And I got this great package of different things, and I could put my icon in them, and they're great. And I'm really so excited to add a little variety to the intro. I love the thing that William Meyer made for me, that great animation montage of all like Jor-El and Lara sending off the rocket, and then all of a sudden there's Cap in the ice, and Namor's throwing something to the Xavier Mansion and everything. It's a great montage. I love it. But it's fun having the variety of different things too. So, honestly, like learning all the bells and whistles of StreamYard. Hey to our sponsor, StreamYard. Hey, it's great. I love it.
But Johnny, I do have to say one thing. Your hair looks good.
Hey,
14 haircut, but it looks good.
Did I say on the pod? And honestly, it was ridiculous in a good way. So I cut my bangs, because literally my bangs, I'm not kidding, we're almost to the full length of my nose. All right, Francis figured out the icon thing. That's
There it
cool.
is.
See, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, so you have to stop your cam down at the bottom. There's a little your icons, your control panel.
Second from the
Stop
left,
your
already.
cam, and that's how you do it.
So if I stop the cam right now, I don't have anything queued.
Oh.
Yeah, but you have to put up an icon. But yeah, that'll go to basic one. But you can upload an icon when you come in.
Oh,
I like the generic one, because that's like if you were doing a 60 minutes interview of you, and you had like you were a drug dealer or something. It's like we kept him under incognito for the purposes of this interview, and then we could screw with your voice and be like, "Well, I dropped off the drugs." And,
so for the few minutes you're going to
right?
see me hurting already face. You're going to see me hurting.
That's right. We'll edit that out.
no worries.
Can we-
So my bangs were like to here, and I cut them.
Mhm.
And I put a tweet with my photo, and I said, I think I did okay with my bangs. And I'm not kidding, 13,000 people saw it. And I'm like, man, that's like a cat licking itself kind of reaction. I'm like, okay, God bless all of you. That's
I
amazing.
gave myself my second haircut of the quarantine today.
Do you use a Flowbee? What do you use?
Yeah, I Floppy.
Well, what do you use? I don't know. Do you have like shears?
I used the Mike Norton haircutting method. No, it's a pair of buzzers that I use.
yeah, that's what
Buzzers?
I did.
How you doing, Mike Norton?
I'm all right.
Ask him about Shazam and
the Goon.
'Cause I missed everything. I didn't see the previous show before I joined it.
It's all right.
No, we're just making fun of people.
Yeah,
That's all.
but no, Brad jumped in late, and it's like 45 minutes into the pod, and he's like, "Yeah, so what's going on with Mike doing the Goon?" And we're like, yeah, "All right, we covered that. What kind of microphones are you using?" Yeah, we covered that. Enough.
Oh, good.
So
We got to work again. We got to do something that you could draw some more stuff.
I know. We keep talking about this. I
You
know.
wanna- Would you like to draw a Powers in Action pinup for me for my
Ooh.
comic?
Yeah, sure. Of
Yeah.
course.
But I don't pay anybody. But
That's
sounds great.
You know
That's
what?
a great incentive. Thanks.
I'm real used to it. I'm really used to not getting paid these
But
days.
but I will buy you a sandwich or a cup of coffee at a convention. That's what.
Okay.
Yeah, back in 2025.
So
when we have
that's pretty
conventions again.
expensive right there. What
That's
you
true,
just
actually.
asked for.
Hey, Mike, if you don't do his pinup and you do mine, I'll buy you a beer instead.
Oh,
Wow.
see, I like
Now
the
we're
bidding
haggling.
war that's
I'll
happening
buy
right
you
now.
beer and I'll wing and chips. 'Cause
I'll
Whoa!
buy you a stale pretzel and a 6-pack of beer. How's that?
Whoa!
I already owe Bill Walco some food.
Oh yeah, you're on a layaway plan for convention food.
I have to feed artists. Yeah. So what are you gonna do with the money anyway? You're gonna buy food. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you food.
Just
That's
cut out
true.
the middleman.
Exactly.
It's true. It's
Or
true.
take it to Harold's.
Oh, Harold, yeah.
Artie is keeping Harold's afloat during the COVID virus.
I'm
I've
trying real hard, man.
seen.
Yeah, they would have went out of business 45 days ago.
Exactly.
You know, I don't know if I've ever been to Harold's. I've been in Tennessee. We have Gus's world famous chicken down there.
No, not the same. Harold's comes with a sense of danger.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
and you can use the sauce to cure your hemorrhoids, much like the earlier conversation.
Is it the revolving plexiglass and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you're at one that is late night and you're not the right ilk, you may not be welcome.
Ilk.
Yeah.
Ilk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ilk is
a good word. It's a good word.
Term, right?
Ilk.
Term.
You go up to the turnstile and you say, "Can I have some extra paste for my hemorrhoids?"
Exactly.
They got the hot
They
paste.
don't care about hemorrhoids. They're going to fire it up they're going to try to hurt you if you tell them you have hemorrhoids. So you have to go to the right one and you have to order properly, you know. But in the one, I'm in the northwest suburbs, so nobody cares over here.
Yeah, it's a crime-free zone in that
everywhere
Harold's.
you go safe. You can hold hands, tell everyone you're in love, and everything's fine. Yeah.
I think I'm confused.
I don't know what I was saying, but I got a ticket at Harold's. Yeah.
That's the
I'm not
point.
wearing headphones. It feels good. I feel
Absolutely. What local restaurants are we all supporting? I went to Happy Camper. My nephew is a manager, and there's several in the city.
Where's Happy Camper?
There's one in Old Town. There's one in Wrigleyville.
Okay.
They're a big chain, and they are starting to branch out in other states. And since Colorado freed up, they were planning prior to the virus to open a place in Colorado.
We order pretty much every weekend. We cook all week, and then on the weekend we order places.
That's
and
cool.
I try to order from places that, like, there's a brewery around here, Twisted Hippo, that I try to order from because
Nice.
I want them to stay around.
Do they wear kilts?
Exactly. Yeah,
they wear
they wear the tied off shirt, and it's a very different experience at the Twisted Hippo.
And we
Whoa.
there's a beer store near my studio that I've been ordering. They do curbside pickup, and we do that. So we've been ordering quite a bit.
That's cool. I do the same with a couple places around.
Yeah.
Me.
I order from the place next door.
Is that your parents? Is that your mama? Is that called your mama?
My mama's house. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
don't have that. My mom's really far away. She don't cook for me.
What about the carnitas place that Rose loves already on the south side?
Oh
You
my
guys
God.
going there?
Yeah, Sundays. My brother-in-law Sal comes over. Salvador, and I call him better call Salvador.
Isn't that the guy we used to call Salvador?
Salvador. Yeah, I remember that guy. This is a different guy because I got my own Salvador now, and I call him Better Call Salvador. And
Hilarious.
he comes over, and he brings carnitas, and he brings they look like pitas, but they're tamales or tortillas.
Empanadas?
Tortillas,
Oh.
yeah, thick
They're
tortillas.
but they're real thick.
Real
they look like pitas. They're like Greek pitas, but I know they're not because he buys them Mexican style. But he comes over all the time.
Is that thick with a K or two C's? Because I get confused with those.
a K or C's?
For thick.
Thick with a K or thick with two C's?
I'm here to translate. It's all right.
Yeah.
Probably
Thick.
both. CK. Thick.
Nice.
But he's we do the carnitas.
Well, I've been to your house, and Rose has brought the carnitas, and they're very good. It's very
She
good.
don't mess around, man.
I'm hip. I understand.
She's upstairs right now, not messing around. That's
Watching
why I went up there to
watching an
watch
old black and white
They
movie.
weren't
Yeah.
messing around, so I had to get out of there.
I'm taping a bunch of Edward G. Robinson movies on Turner Classic Movie. Yeah, Shay. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't he say? You see? What is he?
He no, that's Cosby who does. There's a difference to the yeah, say yeah. He's say as opposed to
Well,
you see.
Well, who says chicote?
Well, that's Robert Beltran.
Oh, okay, I know that too.
But I was gonna say Edward G. Robinson. There's that great. They make fun of him in a Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's a gangster that Bugs Bunny's like making, doing whatever. And he's like, and he goes, "It's curtains, Rocky, curtains," and it's actually curtains hanging on a window. And Edward G goes, "Oh, they're lovely." Yeah.
Boy, I like this.
Yeah.
Thick chewy.
Thick way.
Thick chewy. Thick way.
That's the Canadian spelling of thick. Yes.
I'm okay with that.
Thick. It's thick.
Swig for the working man.
Attaboy.
For
Look at
work.
that.
Yeah.
Keep an ice mountain in the again from avoiding any small business loans. That's it's Skokie Spidey, everybody.
I like that Skokie single-handedly is keeping a glacier in business.
You're welcome, world.
Exactly. Yes, thank you, Ice Mountain.
I'm a big fan of the Skoke.
We need like product placement for your sponsors. There, Mike.
I tried to hide the label, but it's all around the whole thing, so I couldn't.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Exactly. Oh, now Mike went away.
Oh,
we lost the mystery man.
Where'd he go?
He's back.
He's back.
There you are. What happened?
I don't know.
It's all right.
Hey, listen, I wanted to ask you a question. What's the weirdest convention experience you ever had? Try and keep it sort of semi-clean, too.
Well, then I can't tell you the weirdest convention story I've had.
Tell us anyway.
I went to a convention in DeKalb, Decatur, Georgia, on Easter Sunday weekend.
Oh, boy.
So there was nobody there. It was the first annual Atlanta Comic-Con. They've never done it before. They never did it after. And we were just sitting there the whole weekend just doing nothing. But a couple of people, there were, a couple of famous people there.
Was I there?
No.
Oh, man. I remembered this story.
But somebody came up to me and my friend there. Sean McKeever was there, and
I like that guy.
My friend Jason Alexander and Sherrard Jackson. We were all there, and somebody came up to us and said, "Hey, Bob Burden has invited us to go to this party." And I'm like, "I don't know Bob Burden."
Flaming Carrots, Bob Burden.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and so.
And Mystery Men for people who don't know Flaming Carrots.
So there are a bunch of guys that I'd never met or like providing transportation. We all get in some stranger's car and we drive for a while to this other hotel. It was a Holiday Inn. And as we walk up, I could tell something was weird because there's just a naked woman on one of the balconies just saying hey to us. And I'm like, what's going on? And apparently it was this kind of fantasy fetish convention that in order to have their convention, they had to rent out the entire hotel. So it was insane. We got on the elevator. For one thing, the ballroom or the meeting rooms, when you go to these hotels, was basically a makeshift dungeon. People like tied to racks and being shocked with things and like that. And we got on the elevator, and every stop felt like the levels of hell, except we were going in reverse.
So basically, like, oh look, this floor is all mattresses. Oh look, this floor is all butter.
Except
David Pumpkins before David Pumpkins.
Yes, it was like David Pumpkins, except everybody was naked.
Naked David Pumpkins.
And
fantastic.
And
I never get invited to conventions like
exactly,
that.
Man.
Well, I didn't know what it was. And a friend of mine who had come with me, he was from Memphis. He and I had actually driven there. He got there and he took off. He was like, I am not down with this. And
this is like the convention version of Penthouse Forum letters. I never knew these conventions were true till the following happened.
I mean, I'm not getting into details because there's things about certain people that I know that I'd be giving away too much. But
I was hanging out with Mike Norton one night
at a convention. No, it's well, honestly, I've heard wild convention stories from years past, and certainly things have cleaned up in the last 10 or 15 years. So it's not surprising. I mean, God, I remember one where I heard Danzig, because I figured Danzig can handle the being responsible for the debauchery party, and that Frank Frazetta was at this party because I think Danzig was doing some sort of Frazetta comics back in the 90s or whatever. So yeah, I've heard those stories.
The guy was going to be Wolverine Danzig?
Yes.
Wow, same guy.
Heavy metal guy, right? Isn't he? Yeah. Isn't Danzig a big heavy metal guy?
Yeah, sure.
I want confirmation. Pat Brower would know for sure. Exactly.
Yes.
I got invited to Los Angeles Comic-Con. It was a Stan Lee con. And I was, they put me in a hotel. It was only 2 blocks away. Real good location. When I walk out, there's everything I need to eat. There's food carts. There's restaurants. There's all this stuff. But the convention was happening on Halloween weekend. So I didn't know it, but my hotel was a party hotel. It was the Halloween party was happening. So when I went, after the convention, I went to the hotel. I went to eat dinner, and then I went to the hotel. And I noticed that the lobby was filled with all of these beautiful women. It was a party, giant party with, I was like, wow, there's a lot of women in this party. And as I walked into the party, I realized that all the women in the party were all 6 feet tall. I'm like, what's going on here? So I realized, and all the women all of a sudden started flirting with me, saying, and I was wearing a red jacket at the time with my Oh Yeah Comics logo, and they said, hey, Red Jacket, where you going? I said, I'm staying in this hotel. Hey, Red Jacket, where you going? And so, and I realized that all the women, they were all guys.
So, I thought they were going to be all hookers.
No, they were all dudes. So the whole 6 foot
I just want to tear you
in the whole
apart.
place. It was a very flamboyant party.
A drag party, sure.
But I was hungry. I just bought my tacos off the food cart on the street, and I just wanted to go to my hotel room and eat them. But,
hey, Paul, remember when we used to say this party's a drag, and it was something very different?
But that had been the most awesome party that I've ever been to on accident, and to this day, whenever we see people on TV that are men, just like ladies, or of the ilk, my wife always says, "Hey, look, kids, there's Daddy's friends." So that really happened to me, and
That's
that
awesome.
was probably the best party I've ever been to. But I only walked through it to get to the hotel room to get through the elevator to get to my room, so I could lock the door and just hang out by myself.
Wayne makes a good observation here, and only because you and Fowler, Mike, obviously do, and it's been said before that the two of you could be stunt doubles for each other.
I am not nearly as angry as Tom Fowler is.
Well, it's more of a physical thing, but all right. I talked to Tom last week. We had a great conversation. Honestly, I miss Tom.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of fun. We talked for like 3 hours, as we always do.
We should get him on a show right now.
Fowler would come on. He'd come on, yeah.
But then we'd have a Tom Fowler mystery.
I don't know.
No, it'd be like Flash of Two Worlds, where Mike and Fowler are like, Earth 1 and Earth 2.
Wait a minute. I think I'm from Earth 3.
Aren't you in the Justice Society? I thought you were in the Justice League.
Aren't you dating?
Fowler doesn't talk like that. Neither does Mike, but for the purposes of this conversation.
Wonder Woman.
Mike, at any convention, has anyone ever, fans of the Oh Yeah podcast, ever approached you and wanted to discuss the Mike Norton impression or the mystery?
Now he's doing it.
Say exactly. I was going to say you and Brett are in the same club right now. So.
Yeah, it happens. It happens at least once every show.
Yes, I was late.
Yes.
It happens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Julie, get the pugs. We have a mystery on our hands.
That's why we got the wallpaper up and everything. That's like the mystery machine. At first, when Franco showed it to me, I'm like, very Riddler-esque, and he's like, no, it's from Mike Norton Mystery. I'm like, oh yeah, of course it is.
It's Scooby colors.
Yeah.
You don't do it anymore, do you?
Well, it hasn't come up. Like
Yeah.
we when we ponder a mystery, we'll certainly go, it sounds like it's another Mike Norton moment. I don't play the music anymore. The Scooby
It does
music.
come up though. Yes, it does come up.
Yep.
I'd
Hey,
say
Kevin
about
Bisbee.
every 10 shows or so it will pop up somewhere.
Kevin,
It's the Mike Norton mystery.
It's been a while. But yeah, we go further and go, Julie, get the pugs. We got a mystery to solve.
I think at the very beginning, like when we started doing it, we apologized to you, but we kept doing it.
Yeah, we still kept doing it.
We didn't really care. We just kept doing it.
No,
I
we
want
just
to
went
make
on
a
record.
Mike Norton Migo. That'd be good.
should make a Mike Norton Migo.
That would
That'd be awesome.
Maybe.
You need to take one of those
I
G.I. Joes.
I would purchase it from you if you did that.
Yeah, get a 70s G.I. Joe head, Artie, with the facial hair.
I got for the Meagle fans out there, I got a Captain Blackbeard the Pirate. It's a good head for Mike Norton.
Ooh.
Already.
I like
he's
it.
snarling. He's going. Ah.
Now, is that head? Is it a plastic beard or is it fuzz like the old G.I. Joes?
Oh, it's plastic and painted and beautiful.
Okay.
It's all plastic and rubbery.
I ruined my G.I. Joe like that by taking it in the bath with me when I was a child and his hair fell out.
Was he going to find out where the water's coming from? Where the bubbles were coming from? You want to hear a really scary thing? I was with I forget who it was. He was a famous artist.
Me, famous cartoonist?
No, a different famous guy.
Oh, okay.
Damn it, I can't remember who it was. We were set up at this small show, and it was a comic book, but also they had weird dolls and toys and stuff like that. It was a weird toy show. So he got up to go to the restroom, and he comes running back like 2 seconds later. He goes, come here, you got to see this. I'm like, did you go to the back? He goes, no, come here. So he took me out in the hallway, and there was a guy who had all these G.I. Joe dolls, but he had a Hitler G.I. Joe doll. And there was a sign that, please do not touch. Yes, it has real human hair.
Ew.
So the G.I. Joe Hitler doll had real human hair.
Yikes.
And he goes, who does that? Should we call the police on this guy? And I'm like, I'm not sure.
Well, it depends where the human hair was from.
That's what we were saying.
Wow.
Like what part of the body? Or
Yeah, I don't want to know
Right.
exactly.
No, from what human it came from.
Was it?
I think both actually,
was it from the penthouse
or the tenants.
or the downstairs
Well, I
tent?
I didn't undress the doll to find out if he had
Well,
him
you
down
can tell
there,
from the
too.
hair there. Quincy, I don't want to break down your forensics there, but
You know, I didn't want to get too close. It wasn't a Mike Norton mystery I wanted to solve. Let's put it that way.
Wow. We used to abuse our G.I. Joes. We'd put them in Tonka cars or trucks, and we would literally tape on the back bottle rockets and send them off and stuff and just have them like go down the street. And it was fantastic. It was like watching, drag racing and stuff. Super funny car in your G.I. Joes Sunday. But yeah, they were scorched. So our G.I. Joes were scorched from that action.
Well, that's what you do when you're a kid. You like burn your army guys and blow up stuff or send it into the sky. That would happen.
Those were the days. Exactly when, hey, let's give that 7-year-old a couple cherry bombs. Great idea. What could go wrong?
You could either burn some action figure or burn some army guys or burn some fingers. You never know.
Exactly. Maybe lose a limb.
It's not a party till you lose an eye.
My Uncle Gus, when he was a kid, he was still in Greece, and this is after the war, and he thought he was picking up a toy, and I'm not kidding. He picked up a landmine. He lost his arm.
Oh,
it was crazy. He was like the best, like totally did not faze him. Had a great time. Married a beautiful wife. For losing a limb, he did fine. He was a very successful businessman, and I used to tease him. I'm like, because he'd come over and he'd swim in the pool with one arm. And he literally was like thrashing around the pool and stuff like that. And I'm like, Uncle Gus, what are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to swim.
Great. Uncle Gus was trying to stay alive, and Johnny's sitting there making fun of him.
He was awesome. He laughed about it. He was great about it. He's like, I'm swimming. This is how I swim. I'm like, my God, you're thrashing around the pool, man.
We called him Flipper for short.
Exactly, the poor guy. He was great. My dad's business partner. He was seriously, man. One of my favorite uncles. He had the greatest sense of humor for that, having that kind of tragedy. He's like, yeah, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm fine. I got a hot wife. Everything's good. Aunt Paula. Boy, I'd like to.
That is the key. The wife's part.
It's true. True story.
I'm scared of these stories.
I like all these stories. I like the Hitler. I like the Hitler action figure. Yes, it's Hitler. Sold separately. Collect them all. It's Goering and Goebbels.
I think the artist was doing work with Richard and Wendy Pini on the ElfQuest stuff. Was it Blair?
Of course.
Was it Blair? Blair something?
I don't know. Blair Underwood?
He was a nice guy. He was fun to hang out with, but when he saw this doll, he's like, you got to come see this.
Well, yeah.
I want to make sure I have a witness.
And it has humanoid hair. Oh, my God. What about Ava Braun? Was she next to him? Was that another accessory?
I think she was in the bunker. I'm not sure.
Exactly. Yeah, that's instead of the country camper, it'd be Hitler in the bunker.
Hitler? I just met her.
Nice.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, man.
There you go. It's happened. We've turned the corner.
Get out.
Yeah, we'll edit that out. Don't worry.
Sorry, we'll let that one go. Artie's tired.
But I'll leave in my uncle thrashing around in the pool with one arm. Swimming in a circle. We're not sure why. You can only make right turns.
Mike Norton.
Hey, Uncle Harry, here, catch this beach ball.
That's not funny. No, he was great. Uncle Gus, man. Gus Dummies. He was awesome.
I don't know if I like any of this.
He's no longer with us. The arm was buried separately.
Is he in heaven, baby?
Terrible. Totally going to hell. Totally going to hell.
I'll meet you there. I got a suite reserved.
I'm telling you, my dad right now is like, you son of a gun. What are you doing? That's terrible. So, did I bring it out to a halt with my one-arm story?
Was he a fugitive at any point, or
exactly? Yes, he was stalking David Johnson, Richard Kimball, Dr. Richard Kimball. I used to love that show. And I love the movie. The movie's awesome, and the movie's all Chicago. Good Lord.
The Harrison Ford one?
Yeah, and it's great because it has all the real Chicago news reporters. And we have this guy who I loved and really got to know well, John Drummond, and his nickname was Bulldog Drummond. And
yes, it was Barry Blair. Yes.
Oh,
sorry.
Nice.
I believe.
So, in The Fugitive, John Drummond's beat was the mobsters, and he would always do those great, all right, in the field, here's a report from John Drummond. And he'd always start with, I'm standing in front of the home of Tony the Big Tuna Accardo, or I'm standing in front of the home of Sam Momo Giancana. So in The Fugitive, there's a great scene from the murder scene, and he's like, I'm standing in front of the home of Dr. Richard Kimball. And the entire audience, when we saw it in the theater, all the Chicagoans were all laughing our asses off. Like, Bulldog, that's awesome. He's doing what he always does. So that was that. I'm telling you, if you're a Chicagoan, that's a must-watch is The Fugitive movie.
That story you just told is very familiar to me. Yeah.
There you go. I might have told you that story before.
Chicagoan.
It's true. And all these great Chicago actors say, hey, nice, Dr. Kimball over by there. He killed his wife, I think. So, and then of course, I'll tell you what, Slick. You had Tommy Lee.
I didn't do it. I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't know, Richard. I'm coming after you, Richard.
That was my favorite line of the whole thing. I didn't do it. I don't care.
Yep. I love Tommy Lee Jones when he basically plays Tommy Lee Jones in every role. Black. And I do. He's a great actor. I truly love him. He's a genius actor. And also Al Gore's former roommate at Yale. Or Harvard, one of the two. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Whose roommate? Your roommate?
Al Gore.
Al Gore, the vice president. The former vice president.
El Presidente de Iche.
He was Tommy Lee Jones' college roommate. I'll tell you what, Slick, let's get some girls. Forget about Tipper. Come on. Let's go get some people.
He's probably said, I've been up for over 18 hours. I need to go to sleep.
Slick? You can end with Slick.
Also in that movie was an act called The Little People. Have you guys heard of this?
Talk to me.
This is there's one shot. Harrison Ford runs through the St. Patrick's Day parade, and in the background you see the little people. They are these. There was a guy and a woman, and it was picture like a costume, and it had a real big head and real cartoony features.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You put this over you, this costume over you, and your hands would work the mouth like this. So they would go to like they came to my grandparents' 50th anniversary, and they show up and they come in and they have their own music and they announce them. And now here are the little people. And they come in and they walk around the room and they dance and they go up to people and they kiss them. But when they do it, you're just imagining, you're seeing the person inside going like this to kiss the person. They're just shoving the lips of this big plush head at these people. And the people are like getting jerked and
how are your grandparents when they booked the little people for the 50th anniversary? Hey, good news. We got the little people for the 50th anniversary.
Did your grandfather book this for your grandmother? Oh, I found it in the yellow pages. They look great.
It was my grandma's sister ww booked this as the big surprise.
That's what I mean. We couldn't get Jimmy Damon to sing for him, but we got the little people. Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. What, the balloon folding artist wasn't available that night? That's awesome. The little people. I would love. Seriously, I immediately love your aunt. That is fantastic.
Well, and then after they came to the 50th anniversary, then I saw him in The Fugitive, and I was like, oh, it's the little people.
Were they in like leprechaun-y kind of
They
outfits
were,
for
yeah.
Patrick's Day? Of course they were.
Yeah,
Did you take your grandmother to the movie? That one tried to kiss me on the mouth.
They
the
would
little people just slipping their tongue. Ew.
What they would do is if there was a bald guy in the audience, they'd go up to the bald guy and they would kiss him on top of the head. The lips would go on top of the guy's head.
I love show business like acts like that. That's why I love like Broadway Danny Rose. And he had like the balloon folders, and he had the woman that played the glasses that could make like, you know, the nice harmonic tones while she's playing all the drinking glasses with various levels of water to produce different tones and stuff.
It's good stuff.
So, I think Mike Norton's doing a
Yeah, he's got to leave. He's got to go.
Thing to Tex Avery.
I was going to ask him about the goon, but
he'll come back.
Not there. So.
I'm betting it's because he's not wearing pants, and he doesn't want anyone to see that he's not wearing pants while he gets.
You probably have to go put some pepper paste on his ass.
Exactly. Man, it's hurting real bad.
It's good for you.
I'll just do his voice while he's not here, so other people can think he's still here.
The voice of cayenne pepper paste, everybody, Mike Campobosa.
That's right. It's called How to Cure Hemorrhoids the Natural Way. It's by an author named Stan Shepard, and you can find it on Amazon right now. The book, but I mean,
I want to get the Audible.
It's so much better. Art, I was telling these guys I narrated a book about how to cure hemorrhoids
naturally.
Natural way.
The natural way.
I don't think there's any other way.
And it involves water and cayenne pepper, and inserting it somewhere.
Really, cayenne pepper cures?
Oh yeah. I've never tried it myself, but supposedly it works.
It doesn't sound pleasant at all.
It doesn't.
Maybe at first, but then you gotta like. It's probably like a thing that goes ow 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 ow. Oh, that's better.
I think it depends on which end you put it on. I'm sure, or in.
Well, how many ends are there?
Two.
Well, you can do it nasally as well, actually.
Two. This one, and then the one on the other side.
Beginning and the end.
The front part or the back part there, sir?
The alpha and the omega,
if you will.
You always want to be the omega.
The innie or the outie, or depending on which side. I don't know.
I'm not going to do any of that.
Well, then you will have to suffer the uncomfortable pain of hemorrhoids, sir.
You know what I really admire right now?
Tell me.
Mike Norton, my friend, my hero, he has a very professional microphone. You have a really good setup.
Where were you at the beginning of this podcast?
It's not. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to me.
And is that because you do this often? Or is it because you
It is because I do this often, but it's not. I did not purchase this. This was bought by a studio mate who decided that we were going to make a bunch of audio visual things and bought a bunch of mics. Yeah.
Is that from Crank?
No, it's not Crank. It's Josh Emmons who shares the studio with me.
I know him. Yeah.
Yeah. So
see, I have this webcam that my mom gave me at Christmas time, just last December or so. And she gave this to me because she said, I don't know what to do with this. I don't use it. Here, you have it. So I brought it home and I plugged this video cam into my computer and it worked. And ever since December, January, February, I've been doing these live streams and doing these camera things. Before January, anytime anyone wanted to do an interview with me or a webcam thing, I didn't know how to do it. But now I do because I got this webcam. It's right there, that little thing right there. And
we can't see it, but we believe you.
Yeah, it's there. It's recording my beautiful face, my George Clooney-esque face.
Nice.
Was that the same face that we saw before when you first came on?
Do what? Do what now?
Was that the same face that we saw before when you first came on?
Yeah, when you're like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, everything's fine. Fresh as a daisy. Yeah, okay.
But I really admire it's this simplistic form of just the camera. But I really admire Mike Norton's mic. I could see that right now.
His aesthetic, if you
have mic envy.
But that means you have a microphone and a camera looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have headphones. Where I'm not doing any of that.
I do the headphones is because of the microphone, and because I've tried to do this before, and the microphone will like pick the microphone will pick up stuff and feedback and things like that. So
right,
you got to do all these other things.
I had the headphones on earlier, but it wasn't. I don't know. It didn't work, so I just went with this. So I can hear you guys. You guys are broadcasting out loud here. So if anybody came down to see, hey, what's Daddy doing? They're gonna hear you guys talk.
Right, and that's usually how I do the Crankcast. When I do it with Crank, I just talk into my computer. Well, not lately because I have this at home now, but I don't put the headphones on when Crank calls because I figure he'll just fix everything. I make it harder for him.
He'll fix it in post. Absolutely.
Good.
So
C-3PO's here, yeah.
3PO.
What's up?
You got to get the full effect.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
How are you?
Good. Hey, Johnny.
Hey, buddy.
Staring right at you.
I'm looking right at you. Do it.
There we go.
All right,
hello, John. George
the,
Lucas's birthday today.
No, but you got to do the arms, and you got to do it so the arms are in the camera. There you go. Give Mike the full effect. Thank you.
Thank the maker.
Thank the maker. Exactly. Dear friends.
Yeah, it's his birthday.
It's Anthony Daniels' birthday for real?
No, I thought it was George Lucas's birthday.
George Lucas's birthday.
Oh, I didn't realize.
It is?
The maker.
It was either yesterday or today or something like that.
Yeah, one of the days. Yeah, they're all the same.
Exactly. I know we were admiring your avatar earlier.
You guys ever listen to my live broadcast, my favorite
your show?
Oh, yeah, you know I do.
Of course.
Yes.
I'm gonna play a little bit of songs for you guys.
Oh.
Sounds like
is this Gordy? One of Gordy's mixes?
it's Gordy's songs, yeah.
His son made these mixes.
Oh wow!
Let's all groove.
What is happening?
This should have been on last week when we had the psychedelic background on.
This is the freak out portion of the program, in case you're just joining us. Everyone just dropped acid, apparently.
You know, Mike, you can leave anytime you want. You don't have to stay for this. You know?
I know. Mike's like, why the hell am I here?
There he is.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Little mood lighter. Now we're in a bar. Oh, and I already dropped out after that solo.
He probably fell asleep on the console and knocked himself out of the program.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
That was fantastic. Oh, dear.
Oh, my.
Uh-oh. Gigantic Jeff.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah, Gigantic Jeff. Oh
Look
yeah!
who's here, Artie.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! You're there. Sorry, my Gordy music wiped me out a little bit.
We saw that.
We thought you passed out and hit your head on the console.
No,
I do not know how you're doing this, man. You're like running on some kind of other energy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not me anymore. This is not me right now. This is something else. Not someone else, something else.
I gotta tell you, knowing Art as long as I have, this is pretty close to drunk Art.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is. And I'm not drunk.
That's true.
I put more Gordy on there.
Oh, my boxing friend Don Lenza is here as well.
Hey, Don.
I'm here.
All right, back to the freak out already in progress.
Gordy's music, you can hear it. Go to soundcloud.com
I was just about to ask.
and search Gordon Baltazar, and you can hear all his music. It's free.
That's so crazy that I mean,
Music.
it's weird to think that he's doing this, and in my head, he still looks like a little gelfling.
Yeah, he's a little baby boy, but he's 16 now.
That's insane that he's 16. Wow.
And this song is my theme song.
Just think, 16 years ago, there wasn't even a person around to make this music.
That's true.
Oh wow! Dude.
Yeah.
All right, I won't do that too much to you guys.
That was good.
Yeah, he's awesome, and he's telling me that there's a second album. So far, the song "L.A. Flame" is part of his second album.
What's it called?
It's called "L.A. Flame."
L.A. Flame.
And he's gonna release another album that's deeper and darker and more crazy. That's what he says. But every time I play my music or I do a live show, I play that in the background because I know I can't get sued.
Do you know? Do you guys remember when Robbie Robertson of the band had his solo album and he had that song "Somewhere Down the Crazy River"?
Somewhere down the crazy river.
Exactly. The music from that, Artie, you should play that for Gordy because I think he would be inspired by hearing.
What is that thing that he's playing in? Is like a auto chord thing. There's like a weird electronic device that I remember
the video.
Yeah, I think I had like a kindergarten teacher that had one of those and played that. Or
something. The auto harp.
Yeah, weird
and everything, and it had strings. It almost looks like Mr. Spock's.
Yeah,
Vulcan lyre.
What's that guy's name? What's the artist's name that you're talking about?
Robbie Robertson.
Robbie Robertson. He was the guitarist for the band.
I thought that was
Spider-Man.
I thought that was the actor with the real kid face. No, that's Robbie Benson.
Nice.
Robbie Benson was
Robbie Benson,
Running Brave, and
big voiceover actor.
Yeah, he's the Beast in
years.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
Is he really?
Yeah.
In which Beast? In which Beauty and the Beast?
The first one. The animated one.
The animated one, right? Yeah.
Not the third one.
Right.
I know the third one.
He's in a movie called City Limits that was Mystery Science Theater 3000 did.
I remember that. He's in a great college basketball movie called One on One.
Oh, okay. I've probably seen it.
It's that guy who is Senator Geary from Godfather 2 that's always like Southern asshole and everything. Again, swearing.
Jesus, Johnny.
I know, sorry. What are you talking? You just heard the first one of the night. Shut up.
I got kids over here, Johnny.
I'm sorry, Oliver. I apologize to Oliver.
He's a southern rectum.
But he's always like, I can't even remember the actor's name. But he's the coach, and he's like a real Bobby Knight, like hard ass coach and everything. And it's honestly, to me, it's one of the best college basketball movies. Next to Nick Nolte's Blue Chips, of course.
I love it. It's great. It's so good.
I don't know if I know any of that.
Hoosiers isn't good.
Yeah, Hoosiers.
You're right about that. I'm shameful that I forgot about Hoosiers.
And Hoosiers isn't even about basketball.
Another great one that's on Amazon Prime, a 70s movie, Fast Break with Gabe Kaplan.
Yeah, Fast Break with Gabe Kaplan.
And Captain America, Reb Brown in that movie as well.
Yeah.
Does it have his hair flowing in the wind, all breezy like?
Like when he does the 50-yard dash against Robert Conrad in the Battle of the Network Stars.
Oh, he was so competitive in those. He was like the team captain most of the time, right?
Robert Conrad, yeah.
Well, no, Gabe Kaplan was too, wasn't he?
Well, I don't know. The one that I saw, they're doing a relay race, and they said that like ABC cheated, and Gabe Kaplan was the captain, and Robert Conrad's like, he cheated. We should we should run the race again or whatever, and it became this big like fight. And it was great because meanwhile, Telly Savalas from the CBS team is like, "Oh, but this is completely unfair." And he's chain smoking the whole time while he's wearing a tracksuit. So to settle things, Robert Conrad challenged Gabe Kaplan to a 50-yard dash. And Robert Conrad was like a serious athlete. He was an amateur boxer.
I remember he's like tearing through that stuff. I did see that.
It's seriously, it's on YouTube, everybody. If you haven't seen it, I know we've talked about it before.
Man, I used to love those when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
I had no idea who most of them were.
Yep. Although, man, we got like Cheryl Ladd, Linda Carter, and Adrienne Barbeau, and they all look spectacular.
Well, even later they had like Heather Thomas and
they're the best. They were the best. Seriously.
And Gabe Kaplan looks so different now. He looks so much different from how he used to.
Isn't he a professional poker player now?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. But he doesn't have the hair anymore. He doesn't have the mustache.
He's an old man.
If you Google him like I do, you'll see it.
Like I do consistently. Not that I'm stalking.
I honestly thought Gabe Kaplan was dead.
No, he's still alive. As a matter of fact, he's one of the little people in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, he's here right now on the broadcast. Please welcome Gabe Kaplan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gabe Kaplan. It's my one impression I do.
Julie, did I ever tell you about my uncle Horatio Carter? Oh dear.
Oh yeah, those jokes.
Oh man, and of course, young Travolta.
Young Travolta and
faster, Rachel. It's so weird.
Mike, have you ever seen
Washington was in a lot of really crappy action movies in the 80s.
Yeah, Mike is a connoisseur of crappy action movies in the 80s.
I forget a lot of the movies he was in because they were really forgettable. But even Palillo was in a lot of dumb horror movies in the 80s.
Horseshack.
Yeah. He is dead, right?
Yes, he is dead.
Palillo's dead. Okay, maybe that's
I think,
what I was thinking of.
I think Travolta and Boom Boom are the only two still alive. Because I think Epstein's dead too.
Yeah, didn't Juan pass away recently? Or something?
Dead? I didn't know Epstein's dead.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Why? Why is he dead?
Because it happens to everyone eventually.
Yeah, well, he was
doctor
on TV Land.
Skokel, Google it.
They did the TV Land Awards. They used to do that, and they would honor like a show. And one year they honored Welcome Back, Kotter, and they had all the sweat hogs up there, including Travolta. And man, you got to find this picture online because Epstein looks like insane. Wow. He still had crazy hair, but it was all gray. He looked like Jerry Garcia. He really looked like old Jerry Garcia.
Do I have a favorite Jeff Goldblum movie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or one that I deeply hate. Vibes I deeply hate.
Hilarious with
Cyndi Lauper. It was
I was going to say Cyndi Lauper.
Make her an actress.
I am so proud of you. That's fantastic. That was a great grab.
I do not. My favorite Jeff Goldblum movie. I don't know. I really like Ragnarok.
Oh yeah,
yeah, of course.
But Jeff Goldblum favorite. I mean, The Fly is a classic.
Mike, you see what Skoke is holding up?
Check this out, Mike.
Oh God,
it's a Goldblum pillow.
Does it change?
It does. If you go like this, it all becomes red.
Oh, better if it was like a fly.
Ask him where you got it. Ask him where you got it.
Where did you get it?
It was a gift.
Does he just say that?
No, these are all
people. It's the same people. They keep giving him this crazy stuff.
That's why I want to get on their shopping list.
You should. I don't know if you're able to do it, Skoke, but if you could, you should show them your bathroom.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. Let me work on that. But before I do, a quick intermission here. Epstein is no longer with us.
Yeah, see?
Yes.
I knew that. Yeah.
2012 is when he left this earthly realm.
When he left the classroom.
When he left the sweat hugs. Yeah.
Dick Butkus made a movie in one of the bad movies in the 80s, and he made a lot of them as well, as Mike knows.
Hamburger,
the movie. No, this was different. And actually, this is a Jeff Goldblum project. I forgot about this. They did a Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, yeah, where Goldblum is Ichabod Crane.
That's right.
That was a TV movie, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
What was the movie? I think
Wait a minute, real fast.
Go.
Because, Mr. Woodman from Welcome Back, Kotter was one of the townspeople. And that was the thing that I got to know Dick Butkus very well in the 90s being at the sports station. And he would just laugh and have the best stories about, he's like, Mr. Woodman was in the movie. And he was, so thrilled. Go ahead. What were you going to ask, buddy?
Which crappy movie was it where the guy had two heads and one of them was Rosie Greer? Who was the other guy?
That's called The Thing with Two Heads. I think.
Oh, okay, because I wasn't sure if it was that or The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant.
Well,
there are
you're not gonna believe this, John, but there's several two-headed transplant movies. There's not just two. There's a couple of them. There's like there's at least 3, and I think there's probably like 4.
And it's embarrassing because the Rosie Greer one, the other head was Ray Milland, who was such a great actor in the 40s and the 50s.
That was the one where it actually had a message, because there's like a racist and Rosie Greer gets stuck together.
Yep.
Yeah. But there's another one. I forget what it's called. It has I forget who the actor is. I think it's like not John Carradine, but somebody of that ilk is
God.
Carradine. There it is again.
Robert Carradine's father and of course Keith and David Carradine's father as well from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
And
the godfather of being in terrible movies.
He made literally 300 or 400 movies.
Yeah.
He's in everything.
I don't know if any of them are good.
I've seen some great, and they're not great really, but low 30s and 40s movies that he's in, of bad monster movies or bad noir movies and stuff. Yeah, he was amazing. He was really amazing. But, and even there he is. We're about to see what Skoke has. You get a solo camera there, Skoke.
All right, it's time. I just want to preface this by saying I'm not weird or anything, but I do have a Jeff Goldblum shower curtain.
You are weird, but yeah
exactly.
So
I've seen those before. Not
yours.
Why would
they
you
look anything
before showing it? Go on. No show business.
Oh my God! It looked like he was right behind you.
Yes, it did. Perhaps you've seen me.
No, that is not the one I've seen before.
How do you shit in that bathroom?
Yeah, really, man. I couldn't. I'd keep the shower open so that Jeff Goldblum isn't staring at me while I'm dropping a deuce. Absolutely.
You get used to it. There's also see if you can see. There's a monkey too.
Oh, there is the monkey. Outstanding.
Awesome.
It's pretty good. That way you're never alone.
When you have Jeff Goldblum in your shower.
That's right.
Yes,
it was a gift. I had a friend of mine. He stayed with me from out of town for a weekend, and I woke up. It was a Saturday morning. I walked into the bathroom, and there it was. It was just there. And I never took it down. I think it's been about 1.5 years.
Can you call that a gift? That's like somebody.
Didn't Jeff Goldblum end up with Lisa Marie, Tim Burton's former hottie girlfriend? I seen her.
Oh, the one from Mars Attacks.
Yes. And a million other movies, but
maybe I don't know. She's in Sleepy Hollow too and stuff like that.
That's right. No, she's lovely.
I think we broke Art.
Yeah. Clearly.
Art needs to go to sleep.
Look at him.
I just want to give you guys the view of what it looks like.
Oh yeah.
So this is basically, if you're sitting down, there's the door, and then you look over. Oh, hey, you're looking right at me.
I didn't want to disturb you while you were dropping a deuce, but
have you not seen, there used to be a thing where people would put in bathroom stalls photocopied pictures of Jeff Goldblum, and it would say Jeff Goldblum is watching you poop.
I do not remember that era.
I've personally been in bathrooms that had that in.
I believe it.
This is the next level. Well, there you have it, folks.
Look at that. That's great, man. Artie.
Oh, poor Artie.
Artie, I just want to hold you right now. It's okay, buddy. As he's cracking up, man. Exactly. The disintegration of Art Baltazar. Live on the Oh Yeah podcast. I remember when Artie was a whole person. And it all changed that one night.
Oh.
Because he had no sleep. It's okay, Artie. You can rap, buddy. I mean, I'm thrilled that you're here, and we're happy to watch you crumble. But
I feel bad that we're keeping Mike Norton from whatever he could be doing right now.
How long have we been doing this? How long?
2
hours, Mike.
How long?
We just solved the mystery.
How long do these shows go?
As long as it takes.
2 hours. Usually.
As long as it takes.
This is like a marathon.
As it takes for Artie or one of us, or for me to conk out and like, all right, let's go.
I've been slowly turning the lights on, and like maybe you'd notice I wasn't gone.
It's all good, buddy. Absolutely.
I can still see you. All the lights are in my house.
The goal is to get down to 0 people watching, and then we'll turn it off.
Exactly.
We're almost there.
Negative numbers.
We usually go till Johnny falls asleep, and then we all yell, "He's asleep! He's asleep!" And then we go home.
I do that. I do.
Well, I've been there before.
Oh yeah.
But we can wrap it up. We can.
And I was gonna say, like,
There's 11 people.
I was trying to see how Denny O'Neill's doing, and I wrote a note to his son, and we had a couple great marathon conversations. And literally, he's like, "All right, John, listen, I'm conking out. I gotta go." Poor Denny O'Neill, and I'm like, "No problem, Denny. I'm so sorry." He's like, "No." He goes, "It was fun."
Why are you doing that to him?
I know I'm torturing poor Denny O'Neill, and I'm like, because he was recovering. He had poor Denny has had like seriously the worst luck in the last 20 years in terms of car accident, a heart attack. I mean, just everything bad. And thank God he's always recovered. And he was recovering from this terrible car accident. And Larry was saying, he's like, God, he could use a call because he's bored out of his mind. Other than the caretaker, he can't leave the house. So he'd love to talk to you. And we did. We had a great call. But he's like, all right, John, I gotta go. I'm like, no problem,
I probably should go upstairs.
All right, but we can wrap.
We all need to go at this point. We've
This
tortured Mike enough.
Poor Artie's crumbling. I mean, so like, he's got a shred of like intelligence left.
Mike Norton was here the last time he was here was like our second or third show, and now he's not going to come back for the next 250 shows.
For the next 10 years.
So,
exactly.
I'm out. Poof, Ninja Vantage.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming. It was awesome having you. I like that we
guys. I missed you. I still miss you. It's not like I'm seeing you in person, but it's cool to see you.
Absolutely,
dude, one of these days we're gonna get something going and we're gonna send it to you, and you're gonna want to draw it.
You gotta draw a Powers in Action pinup for me.
Okay.
That's right. But no pay.
PDFs.
Oh, you did? Cool. All right. I was just about to say, please send me something. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Scoot drew something. Franco drew something. Bill Walco drew something. Justin Castaneda drew something for me. Yeah. I'm going to send you something.
Cool.
And I'll buy you later.
Mike, it was good hanging out. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for showing me your weird bathroom.
Oh, anytime.
Bye.
I like Pink very
cool
much.
Memes.
Tell him, Marty. Say it.
Pink very much, Lois. Follow us when you see us, and run after us if we don't run from you.
Do it.
We're awesome.
Do it.
Wake up and do things that make you happy. That's what you have to do. That's your mission.
Say it.
Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye. Go to sleep. Okay.